Hello, everyone. Happy Open Innovation Thursday. We are welcome you once again, as every week, as we've been doing since February, to review each week in a 15-minute conversation each of the chapters of the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation. This is an amazing adventure. I'm so happy for doing it. I'm privileged. My name is Marisol Menendez, and I'm an open innovation practitioner. I'm an enthusiast. I'm also a little bit of a fangirl of open innovation and ecosystem orchestration. I have my own company, Vilakatu, where we work with open innovation and ecosystem orchestration, and I have a female executive leaders ecosystem. So for me, this is very interesting, and every week I'm having the joy to speak with amazing people such as Markus Perkmann. Hello, Markus. How are you today?
Hello, I'm very well. How are you?
Very happy to have you today in this conversation, Markus. Thank you very much for jumping into the adventure. The first question I always like to ask is, where are you connecting from today?
So I'm connecting from London. I'm a professor at Imperial College London, and so that's where I'm connecting from.
Wow, that's very nice. I'm connecting from Madrid, even though I'm regularly based in Bilbao. So we are more or less nearby. So great to meet you today, Markus. But let's dedicate a little bit of time for you to let us know about your work. What do you do? Let us tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Markus.
Sure. I'm a sociology by background, and I've been studying science for a long time. I've been studying science for the last 20 years or so. So I've looked with some tremendous co-authors at various aspects of science and science commercialization. So we've looked at university-industry partnerships. We've looked at why academic scientists would collaborate with industry. But we've looked also at topics that pertain more to the organization of science. As for instance, we've looked at how scientists are evaluated and what impact that may have on the evolution of scientific disciplines.
Wow, this is amazing. And this is a very interesting section of the book. We are in section number 5, where we are talking about implications for public policy of open innovation. Now, we've talked to Estebel Miral about the smart cities. Then we talked with Agnieszka Radziborn about the regional innovation clusters. But this chapter is very special, chapter number 26, Dimensions of Openness, Universities' Strategic Choices for Innovation. This is amazing because we've been talking continuously about the different players, but you are focusing specifically in universities, which are key for the ecosystem. So how come did you came up with the idea of bringing this chapter into the book?
So universities are by default open innovators. The universities don't run their own operations. They don't innovate on their own behalf. They're not practicing entities in patterned language. So what they do is essentially if they want to help innovate, they will do it via open innovation. So they will do it by launching startups or licensing inventions to companies, or they will collaborate with companies and other organizations to drive innovation. So that's why this topic of universities and how they interact with their environment belongs to the wider topic of open innovation.
This is amazing, so interesting. And of course, open science and collaboration is such an interesting topic, and it's always around the topics we discuss. So let's dig into the chapter. What are you presenting? What is it about? What are you talking about in the chapter?
Essentially, this is how universities facilitate innovation. And in a sense, the chapter looks at all the research that's been done over the last 20 years in this space, and it's first of all a synthesis of what we know as to as to how universities do that. Now, I've structured then the chapter into in a way that also makes conceptual sense. I've looked at the whole gambit of how universities interact with other organizations and the external world, and then I tried to classify what I saw in two dimensions, and one is control, and the second one is spread. And so the first one is essentially, what is the degree of control that university wants to retain in terms of what is being innovated, what is being developed in terms of product or service. So that's the degree of control. The spread is what is the spread that a university wants to achieve with respect to the innovation to be disseminated around the world. So in other words, are they preferring to work with one or few innovators, or are they preferring for the innovation to be spread across a wider spectrum of innovators? So these two dimensions. And why is this important? Well, it's important from a strategic standpoint as to how a university approaches open innovation. So essentially, the chapter outlines the various options that a university may have to pursue open innovation, and also the trade-offs, the disadvantages and advantages and benefits of each of the options. So, and that's what the chapter is trying to do.
So it's so interesting, because this strategic definition or approach on how to define our open innovation from the university perspective, I think it's not that common, and it will be very useful. So what are the main learnings for you, or what do you want the readers to get into their hearts or to get from the chapter?
Sure, absolutely. So there's scholarly, let's say, learnings, and there's learnings for practice. I think if we go into these two dimensions, I think more research is to be done. So, for example, we know quite a lot as to whether as to how universities want to retain control by essentially licensing an invention to a professor and have that professor launch a startup. That is a way for them to have more control over innovation. Less control means the university licenses an invention to a larger corporation. So the license happens, and then the corporation will run with the invention. Less control. But we don't know enough about the trade-offs, essentially, for each option. And so there's a research opportunity there for all of the community. And there is also an implication in terms of the practice of the management of innovation at universities or in the science sector in general. So licensing to a startup will be beneficial because it keeps faculty inventors on board. It's usually good to be offering as the universities the option to innovators to work there, and so any support that is given is usually seen as an advantage. However, if you also may restrict your options by working with one startup only, and hence foregoing other opportunities for the innovation to be developed.
And I dare to say that, as you say, even startups or these collaborators of the universities can also have in this a tool to better navigate, the possibilities, and even inspire maybe potential relationships with universities. And I don't know if this happens the same in the university context, but I've learned through time that in practice, you have a combination of different strategies, because you have more concrete stuff, but you can also open it up and have maybe you have a little bit in each of these two dimensions that you were talking about. Does it happen the same with universities, that you can have a combination of strategies?
Sure. I mean, from let's say a strategic standpoint, it depends though on the capabilities and resources needed, right, to make each of the options a viable alternative, right? So there needs to be a minimum, let's say, built up of expertise and capability in order to make it a meaningful attempt. So universities aren't usually large-scale multinational organizations. They would sort of be, let's say, medium-sized organizations with maximum of 10,000 employees or so. From that viewpoint, the question is, they probably need to be selective and have priorities so they can build meaningful capability in specific areas. Or, for example, licensing to business development for licenses is a very resource-intensive activities, building relationships with potential licensees of IP. And so, the question is, can that be meaningfully done at the scale where the university is operating?
This is amazing. Well, I think we do have much more to discuss, but this is in short what's the chapter about. But do you have any final ideas, thoughts, advice, call to action?
So the final the summary or the lessons from the chapters essentially are, first of all, each of a university has specific options, and awareness of the various options is important in order to be prepared and be able to build capability to run with those options. And then a university needs to decide where is it best placed to make a bigger impact in terms of what channels to use for innovating with others, so open innovation, and how should it go about it, right? One of the strategic, let's say, options that are now on the table, especially recently, is what do we mean by impact? What do we want our science to be doing in the world? And you could say there is one option which is more narrowly commercial. So this would maximize the income from the knowledge that's being generated at university. And then there's a different way to go, which is wider societal impact. So what path are we going down as a university of these two? And it's important for universities and faculty and everybody and all the stakeholders to be clear about what is the path that we're going down to, and once decided, build adequate capabilities in order to get the job done.
This is perfect, Markus. It's been really, really amazing to talk to you today. We have lots to think about, to strategize, and to take focus on in the universities and the way we collaborate for knowledge generation, for open science. And I'm also very happy to have this sample of multidisciplinary connection. You coming from the deep sciences, it's very, very nice. Thank you very much for reaching out, for giving us your time. And everyone, read the chapter because it's very interesting, and give us our comments. Thank you very much, Markus, and greetings to London and everyone.
Marisol, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
See you. Bye.